Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have David. David is from Northern Ireland. So let's see what David has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, hello, David. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of that time of the evening when the energy levels start to go. So I've had to have an extra cup of coffee just to make sure.
Tell me, tell me where you're from, David.
I'm in Ireland, the northern part. Not too far from Belfast would be my nearest city.
I see. And that's the place where you're born and raised?
I was born in Swansea in South Wales.
Okay.
But we left there when I was about 6 years old, and moved back home to Northern Ireland because that's where my parents are from. They lived and worked in South Wales for 20 years.
I see.
My sister and I were born there, and I have Welsh. I have four Welsh cousins, but my family are Irish, really, and I would identify as Irish.
I see. So tell me something interesting about your hometown, something that stands out compared with other places in other islands.
Well, hometown. Okay, if I go over, I suppose where I grew up is a town called Banbridge, which I can tell you two interesting things. One is that it was featured in the movie The Day After Tomorrow. There's the bit where they're in the weather station and they're looking at the maps of Ireland, and it appears on the map. And also it has an unusual road layout. It's called the Cut. So Banbridge was built, if you think this is a cross section, it was built on quite a steep hill. And if you imagine that the buildings all would go up and then down. And what they found was that the horses and carts couldn't get up and down, or couldn't get up the hills. So what they did was they actually cut through. If you imagine, sort of like through here. So when you look at the town, if you stick it into Google, you'll see it. But there's like two roads go up, or two roads go up the side, and then there's a big bridge in the middle. So it's actually 4 lanes, and two go up the hill and two go under the bridge. So it's a really unusual road layout.
Wow, I'm gonna check it out for sure. I'm curious now.
So they call it the Cut because they just cut through the hill so that it's not as steep a hill. So
Wow.
So it's a nice town. It's one of these nice towns that has a really good, as we've been saying in Ireland, is like a really good shopping town. Lots of good shops, not many empty units. A lot of independent family stores, places like that.
Amazing. And what do you do for work for a living, David?
Well, I kind of have two things that are ongoing. For a long time, I've been an IT consultant, self-employed, for about 20 odd years. But over the last number of years, I've been doing work as an embodiment coach, or general embodiment practices, but that's becoming a little bit more niched now. So what I do now is sobriety coaching. That I've been sober myself for 8 years. And I now help other people to, well, stop drinking. I was going to say moderate, but moderation's a myth. So people maybe think that they want help with moderation, but in actual fact, the solution is to stop rather than trying to moderate. And I'm also working towards teacher certification for 5 Rhythms, which is a movement meditation practice, like a conscious dance.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah, so that'll be sort of what I want to work on, or work in the area I want to work in the next sort of next 20 years of my life, is more of the embodiment practices and working with people rather than computers.
I love that. I love, when people, they literally, they, based on their life experience, they find a way to help others as well. I think it's very interesting because somehow you've been there and you know very well what's the reality. How does it feel? How does, they surround you, people around you, the reactions, I think everything's all together. And, gone through the path, I'm sure it's let's say easier or maybe more rare way to help others as well. That's they're struggling. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an embodied thing. I think it's you can pick up all the various different bits of training and different things, different modalities, and you can learn how to coach in this, or you can learn therapy in that. You can learn, all of these different skills and tools. But what eventually comes in is that gets mixed with the individual's life experience, the
Totally.
lessons they've learned, the hard way, the things that they've lived through, and then it becomes a unique offering to the world, which is, I think is much more important for people to look for in any kind of a coach or a therapist is how much have they lived, really, and have they lived through the thing that they're coaching people through or working for people through. That's, I mean, not to say that is essential, but often it's a key component, or it can be a key component.
Amazing. Okay, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey so far, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through memories in life and share your point of views?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box.
Hey!
So I have here my best friend. Wonderful questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question. All right?
Okay. Okay.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to answer, don't want to talk about, always can change, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. First question for you is, usually, what is the first thing that you think about when you wake up?
Oh, that's a really good question. I suppose probably just like, oh, hello, it's another day. Unless there's something really specific on my mind.
Right.
Occasionally, sometimes if there's big things happening, and sometimes it keeps you awake a little bit during the night, or you wake up and it brings back into your mind, and then you have to try and get back to sleep. Yeah. Sometimes if there's something big going on, that might be probably the first thing that I remember thinking about. But I know that generally, yeah, it's like, oh, here we go, another day. I think that's probably the most frequent one.
And do you have like a morning routine that you do every single day or not? Like a genuine thing, or maybe a habit or something that you cannot avoid it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty sort of set routine because we have a dog. That dictates it to an extent. So it's usually I get up, I go to the bathroom, I have some medication that I have to take, so I take that, and then I go down to the utility room where the dog lies stretched out sleeping, and give her a cuddle. And then she has to get a little piece of bread and peanut butter with a bit of medication in it. And then she has to get a genuine treat after that then for the morning. And I clean out and fill her water bowl, and then I go and let her out. And as soon as I do have a habit, there's a really great book, Atomic Habits, by a man called James Clear. And I have it that whenever I take my hand off the door handle from letting her out, that's when I start my 10-minute morning movement. And that's just a body scan through every part of my body, a little bit of stretching, bit of movement, whatever it feels like I want or my body wants to do. And I usually will then, they're pretty key components. There's usually always 10 press-ups in there, some cat and cow yoga postures, a couple of twists, and some of the twisting and slapping. It's hard to do when you're sitting. So yeah, that's kind of where the routine starts. And then I go and have coffee as my reward for having done that for 10 minutes.
Amazing. What's the name of your dog?
She's called Margot with a T.
Margot. And how old is Margot?
Margaret is 3.5. Yeah, three and a half. Yeah, she'll be 4 in October, actually. So, and she's a Newfoundland. So the big, big hairy water rescue dogs.
Wow.
So they come usually black, brown, or black and white. So she's black and 65 kilos.
Wow. It's a big one for sure.
Yeah. Paws as big as my fist. So,
wow.
But she's beautiful.
Beautiful. Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next question for you is, describe yourself in one positive and one negative word only.
Caring. Talkative.
Beautiful. The first one you said caring.
Yes.
And the negative one is talkative.
Talkative. I talk far too much.
Saying that, what's the biggest joy of being Dave? What do you like the most about being you?
What do I like most
about being you?
I think I like the attitude that I have towards life. It's an attitude that I didn't always have, and it's an attitude that's come through life experience. I've had some kind of quite big things have happened with health, with family, with grief, with life in general. A friend took his own life at age 40, just a couple of weeks after I turned 40, and that was a massive thing. It was a case of, well, I get to live. I'm 50 next year. I get to live this life. I get to have these days that he didn't have and other people don't have. Right. So it's not to say that I remember that every single day, but I like to think that I have a positive attitude towards life.
And what's the meaning of life for you?
Meaning of life? Ooh. Do no harm. I think it's just, go there, do no harm. And if you do, own up to it. If you make a mistake, own up to it. If you hurt somebody, try and put it right. Forgive yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Accept that you make mistakes. Try and help people when you can. Don't give excess time to negative people in negative situations. Try and change things and fix things and leave something positive and have a purpose.
Wow. Tell me a life lesson that life has taught you that you feel very grateful for.
Life lesson. Oh, see, this is the thing. I could probably give you a whole bunch. Let's see. Okay. Probably, yeah, not to take your health for granted. In December 2019, so luckily this was all done and dusted just before COVID hit. I got told that I had a serious blockage in one of my cardiac arteries, and I had to stop everything. It's really weird. I'm so grateful that it was found, because I had gone for I'd run a marathon recently. I had gone for 7-mile run that morning, and I had a scheduled scan for something else. And long story short, they discovered that I had a severe restriction in one of my arteries. And they said, we'll get you in to get a stent done. And that was done in January 2020. So luckily just before COVID. But that was the first time I had come up against like real life-threatening serious illness. And that took a long time to recover from physically, because it's weird when something's been put inside you, you're not supposed to feel it, but sometimes you can. But also the psychological aspect of, well, I'm scared to run. I'm scared to. I was very active at that point, and I anytime my heart rate got raised, I worried and panicked. So once I sort of got over all of that, yeah, it's really just. I remember just thinking, I'll get through this. I will never take my health for granted again.
Oh, Yeah, I think those, as you said, it's a life, talking to you. Let's put it this way, it's life talking to you. I even got goosebumps now. Sometimes, you have those moments that, you know, I think being proactive as you are, you can't. You have this mindset. You just use your body, asking you to be proactive. And suddenly, when sometimes you need to stop for different reasons, and oh my God, one of those, reasons, I think, as you said, it makes you wonder about a lot of things. It changes you as well. You kind of try to understand, and you can get trapped in those thoughts or feelings, and it can take time sometimes for you to somehow understand, or maybe get used to the new journey, let's say. But then I get your point, and sometimes you need people around you, people who loves you, to kind of somehow as well go along with you, because if some people, they might not even have the chance to to get back again somehow.
Yeah, yeah, I know that. I mean, it was one of the things that I did come up against, was wanting to say to some people, it was like, but you don't understand. You've
Mm-hmm.
never had this.
Yes, yeah,
You don't understand how I feel, and I can't explain all of it. And then some people would say, well, but it doesn't make sense. I know it doesn't make sense. Doesn't mean that I'm not feeling it. You know?
totally. And sometimes just who is feeling it or going through can literally understand. Sometimes, being outside, of course, you can give support, you can be there, you can give the best, but you need to understand that who is going through, who isn't going, through the journey, can say, like, really what's on.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you. I think it's you never know who's watching the interview. Sometimes people, they are face situations like that, and see someone talking so open about it, and we can see that you are kind of over it somehow, going in a different path. It's
Oh yeah,
encouraging.
yeah. I mean, I'm really grateful that I got a clean bill of health. There's not many people. Most people find out about heart issues or serious heart issues when they have a heart attack. I didn't have any symptoms whatsoever. The doctors looked at me and went, "What? How can you not know you need a stent?" And I was like,
Wow.
I, I
Wow.
don't know. It was a different consultant that sent me for this scan, because my family have all had really high cholesterol. We have a genetic condition. So it turns
Right.
out my cholesterol was really high from birth, and that was under control, but it turns out it had already done some damage.
Wow.
So at that stage, they said to me, well, do you know you hear about these middle-aged men that run marathons and then they drop dead in the middle of a marathon? He said, you're one of those people at the moment. Or he said, we don't want you to be one of those people. So that's why
Wow.
we're going to give you a stent. But most people don't get the opportunity to get, at that stage, I was running a lot, cold water swimming, mountain climbing, just really, really active at that point. And it took a while to get back to it, but most people don't get the opportunity to go back to it. And also, they get told that, okay, you've got to change how you eat, you've got to give up drinking, you've got to give up smoking, and so on. And none of those things applied to me, because I ate really well. I had stopped drinking several years before, and it's nearly 20 years since I last smoked.
Wow.
So there were positives in it, I have to say. You have to look for the positives in things.
There's always a positive, and sometimes going through it, you don't see it, but in a while you look back, it's like, now I understand. Now things get
Yeah.
make sense then, for sure.
Mhm.
Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, of course, you talk very open about being sober, and also, use your platforms as well to help others. My question for you is, tell me the moment when you look back. Tell me the moment when you thought, okay, it's enough. I need to change my path. I need to go in different directions. And the second part of the question is, do you remember your last drink? If yes, can you tell me about it?
Um, okay, so the moment, I mean, I had no, I knew my drinking was a problem for a while. I wouldn't have called myself an alcoholic, but looking back now, I was. I would have called myself a functioning alcoholic, because I ran a successful business. I didn't drive drunk. It was like a social thing. It was like, you come in from work 5:30, you have a gin and tonic, maybe a couple of gin and tonics, and then you have a glass of wine with dinner, and then you finish the bottle, and then you go to bed just then ever so slightly sozzled, and you wake up the next morning. The mild hangover is kind of the norm, and it's sort of quite common for a lot of people, particularly I think in Irish culture. It's relatively normal in some ways. But then what was happening was, and there was the times that it would just spill over. It would be the night when it would be the second bottle, and then something stupid might get said, and then an argument might start, and I remember it was a Sunday. By that stage, my hangover, there was a Sunday morning hangover, and I knew it was the kind of hangover that was going to spill over into the Monday as well. And my now ex partner, somebody I was with for over 20 years, we had argued the night before. I actually feel bad in that I can't remember now what it was over, but it had been sort of really unpleasant, and it was that familiar thing of he wasn't, or was barely talking to me. I think had gone out for the day or something like that, and I was just left lying, being in bed, hungover, feeling very ashamed and very sad and everything else, and decided that I needed to try and fix it. And I started reading, had my Kindle at the time, and I started looking up books and things, and I started reading about moderation and so on. And then it is, because for me at that point, I thought that the only way to stop drinking was you had to go to AA. You had to basically declare yourself an alcoholic. You had to come out to everybody, I'm an alcoholic. And then everybody had to tiptoe around you, is it, oh, you're coming for dinner? Is it okay if we still have wine? And that it's a lifelong sentence that, when you become sober, that's it. Life is boring and it's dull, and you've got to live the rest of your life on edge, taking it one day at a time and hoping that today isn't the day when you relapse. So that was a massive barrier, but I found different books that actually just introduced me to, actually, if you shift your mindset and realize, why am I still doing this? Why? I don't want this. Believe it or not, it gets to the point that and it happened really quickly, where it was, why do I even want to drink? Why? I don't even want this. And it's not doing me any good. It's costing me a fortune. It's going to cost me my relationship and so on. Ultimately, well, I suppose ultimately, I mean, my marriage didn't survive for a number of reasons, but my drinking was a significant one. And that's, it is life, unfortunately. But yeah, it was the mindset shift. It was just because I don't want this anymore. And that's why I say I stopped drinking. I didn't give up, because giving it up means that I'm spending the rest of my life going, oh, I would love to have a wee glass of wine, but a life of temptation and willpower, because it just doesn't work. Whereas actually realizing, no, I don't see the point in drinking a glass of ethanol. It's that. So it does nothing for me. It takes away more than it ever gave. So it's about, there are all these reasons that we think, the reasons we think we drink. Oh, I like the taste. In actual fact, you don't like the taste. Most people, if they can remember their first taste of alcohol, maybe when they were very young, their first reaction a lot of the time with children is, and beer and wine, is because it's ethanol, and it's got other things flavored in it. We have a problem then with like alcopops and those sorts of things, that to make it palatable to younger people. But your brain gets the hit from it, and it goes, oh, in actual fact, yeah, we're gonna shut off the taste buds to get rid of the horrible taste, because we like what it does. So anyway, there's a whole thing around that. But my last drink, no, I can't remember my last drink. And I actually don't know the exact date that I stopped drinking, because again, it seems counterproductive to sit and give that a lot of attention. I know it was March March 2017. I don't know. I don't know the date. But because to give it the date or celebrate it or mark it or whatever it is gives it power that it doesn't need to have. So unfortunately, no, I don't. I know a couple of times since there was once I accidentally took a sip of real red wine rather than the non-alcoholic version. I took a mouthful and swallowed it. I just went, ugh! But what it did was it actually reinforced. I thought, oh my God, yeah, to think I used to drink this willingly, that it had been several years, and my brain just went, that is awful.
That's so interesting how you turn around things. So yeah, it's interesting. Thanks for sharing, David. I think it's great to talk about it, and it's about healing and help others as well. It's always how it works. Amazing.
Yeah.
Next question is, what will be the title of your memoir?
Right now, it would be It's Never Too Late to Change Direction.
Wow. Okay.
So I think that's coming from, because that's kind of where I am in my life at the minute. Over the last year is a course correction. My life isn't ending up, and it's all good, but my life isn't ending up in the same place that I once thought it would.
I see. Amazing. Cool. 3 questions left. Let's do it. Next question is, which movie had a big influence on you?
Which movie?
Yeah.
Many movies. I can talk about, I suppose, superficial ones that I loved when I was a child. A big one that I have really adored is Torch Song Trilogy, with Harvey Fierstein in it, who, again, funny, Day After Tomorrow. He's been in a bunch of different films. I mean, a lot of people maybe wouldn't, unless they're gay, maybe wouldn't know him from, or wouldn't have heard of this film. Have you heard of it yourself?
No, actually. I love movies, and I'm trying to figure out.
So it stars Matthew Broderick in it. It was early mid 80s, I think, and it was originally a Broadway play. It was three separate Broadway plays written by and starring Harvey, and then they were combined into a movie. It's kind of like three acts, and it's three parts of his life, or his character's life as a gay man living in New York, and it deals with sort of the different relationships and things in his life, and it is one of those movies that is touching, utterly hilarious, in that his character is just so wonderful and acerbic and lovable, but life throws big tragedies at him, and he managed the film just manages to sort of really, it just takes you through the character's journey, and there's a scene towards the end where he is in a cemetery with, and I suppose I'll not give it anything away in case anybody sort of goes to watch it, but there's a scene where he's in, Anne Bancroft plays his mother.
Right.
And in the original stage version, his mother was played by Estelle Getty, of course, is Sophia from the Golden Girls. But there's this scene where he is mourning, and she is mourning her husband and so on. And it's about these parallels between the perceived norm, the straight man and woman, and how the straight woman gets to grieve her husband, but then how that is not quite the same for a gay couple, particularly at that time, and still in some cases today. And there's just a really powerful back and forth argument, but there's one line in it that I really love, and you see a lot of gay guys have things where they close off part of their lives from their family or their loved ones and so on, and there's lots of reasons, and I'm not judging that at all, But one of the lines that she comes out with in the film is that you cheated me out of your life and then blamed me for not being there.
Wow.
And it's just, it's a scene where it just takes my breath away every time. Even thinking about it makes the hairs the back of my neck stand up. Beautiful, wonderful, wonderful performance. I think there was something in that film about not hiding who you are, which I did for a long time. Even after I, came out as an adult and lived an out life and was married to a man. I still didn't always reveal that I was married to a man.
Wow.
So with work generally, I wasn't just so forthcoming about it. Now I don't care. Who knows?
Yeah, those movies just give impacts, and as you said, you still feel the goosebumps when you think about it. I'm gonna check it out for sure. And I got
It's called, Torch Song Trilogy. It's called. It can be a little bit hard to get hold of. The version I have is a US DVD that I had to buy years ago, but I think it's probably on streaming platforms somewhere.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, next question for you is, what is the happiest day in your life so far, and why you consider that?
Happiest day in my life so far. I'm gonna say the day my grandson was born.
You've got a grandson.
Yeah, that raises eyebrows. My ex-partner, ex-husband, was 16 or is 16 years older than me. So he was married before and had one son from that marriage. So whenever I'm trying to think, around 2004, I think it was 2005, his son moved in with us when he was in his early teens.
Right.
And lived with us then right up sort of until he left home.
Wow.
And so I've had a sort of a stepdad role in a way.
Of course.
And so I have I'm trying to think now. Yes, he's 12. I have a 12-year-old grandson who I absolutely adore. And that was a very, because I accepted that I was never going to have any children, biological children of my own. It was sort of obviously very unlikely, and it's not going to happen. And as I said, then having my stepson, raised with us as well was a wonderful experience. But because I don't have any nieces or nephews, I never got this thing of like, oh, it's friends would have babies and it'd be very nice, but I'd be like, oh, it's a baby. How lovely. What a lovely baby, But whenever he was born, it was absolutely different. I know he's not my flesh and blood, but he's the closest thing to it. And I remember holding him the morning after in the hospital because he was born very late at night.
Wow.
And realizing I get it. I get this thing of how this little bundle, I would give my life.
Wow.
For this little person. And it was the first time that I really thought, I get this, how you can love something more than you love life itself, and you would give up everything for it.
Absolutely.
And amazingly, so that was a really beautiful day for me, and it is carried on, and what's really nice as well, and is that when my ex and I separated and so on, and we sold our family home, which was to be our forever home, and we adored it. But my stepson and his wife and children now live there. They bought the house from us, so it's still in the family. And it gives me such huge joy to know that they're all living there. And I now have 2 granddaughters as well since. So
Oh,
So yeah, it was one of they bring me great joy.
all right. So let's see that your grandchildren is gonna watch this interview one day, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send them a message right now. What would you say?
I hope the three of you know that even though maybe our family wasn't overly or the most conventional, you know, that even though, you know, the family didn't quite stay together in the way that was maybe originally planned, that as far as I'm concerned, the three of you are my flesh and blood, and I will always be here for you, and I will always be here for you for anything you need. I will always be your granda, and I love the three of you more than life itself.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Goosebump again. I love it. Yeah, I think those, as you said, when you just understand love, when you have those moments in life, and you see, my God, that's the meaning, the real meaning. Of course, love, there are different meanings. However, that's when you
Yeah.
feel it. You go like, you know what? Now I understand more than ever what love
Yeah,
can.
I think it connects you to a time beyond yourself.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it definitely highlighted for me the thing of, well, one day I'm not going to be here, and they are, and the
yeah.
planets, they're going to be here on a planet that, I have a duty to sort of try and look after things, and just and you do, then you worry what kind of world they're going to grow up in, and
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, the love come worries as well. It's all together. It comes all together for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Last question. Ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. Last one. Before the last question, David, very briefly, if you could, people watch this interview right now, maybe they are facing a situation where they cannot, stop drinking, or any kind of addiction that they are facing right now. If you could, um, you know, give a piece of advice or a piece of experience, what would you say for those people struggling right now?
First thing I would probably say is keep breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you're breathing in and out. Take a moment to feel your feet on the ground and feel your bum on the chair. Take a deep breath in and relax your body. When it comes to, let's say, you're struggling with alcohol and you don't quite know what to do, you're not, it sounds so corny, but you're not broken. There is a system and a society in place that has made this far too easy to get into. And there is more than one way out of it, not just the declaring yourself an alcoholic. There is an escape, and it does, sometimes the escape feels like a whole other punishment. It's like from the frying pan into the fire, and it doesn't have to be that way, and it can be done. And it's important to know, particularly with drinking, that your body is physiologically addicted to it, but it's two separate things. So in short, it, no matter how bad it seems, it is possible.
Let's see. Right. Last question is, if you won the lottery, what would be your first big splurge?
Oh, probably a beautiful beach house in Northern California, Stinson Beach to be specific.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's about 45 minutes north of San Francisco, and
Okay.
I've been there a few times, and it is one of my favorite places in the world. So yeah, I think that's what I would be looking real estate for something like that, and then go and visit, decompress, and decide what to do with the rest of my winnings.
Beautiful. Right, on the end yet, let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with money.
Good.
Fear.
Do it.
Family.
Love.
Life.
Short.
Religion.
Disorganized.
Love.
Sorry, what was that?
Love.
Red.
Sex.
Fun.
Politics.
Shite.
It sounds very, very German. Friendship.
Important.
Desire.
Search.
Regret.
Release.
Success.
Overrated.
Happiness.
Important.
One word for Northern Ireland.
Sorry, what was that?
Northern Ireland. One word.
Troubled.
Okay. And the last one now, sobriety. One word.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friends. Define David in one positive and one negative word only. What your best friend would say about you?
Funny.
Right?
Talkative. Same as what I said for myself.
What's your star sign astrology, David?
I'm a Sagittarius.
So you are December.
Mm-hmm.
If funny enough, you say about talkative. Actually, my first one is Scorpio. My second one is Sagittarius. Did you know that Sagittarius, comparing the other star signs, they have the biggest heart? Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I know very little about it.
Yeah, they consider to be the biggest hearts. Let's play now, David, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, David, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, my question for you is, if you could spend a week in a fictional universe, what fictional universe would it be?
What a great question. Wow. Oh, okay. Right. For some reason, the universe of Avatar.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. When I watched the movie, I just could picture myself over there. You know what I mean? I was like, my God, how does it feel living in a world like that? With all those beautiful lights, nature, scary. I think I watched the first and the second movie, the Avatar, like thinking, my God, imagine if this exists like in the world, like it would be amazing to be there. I think that's a place that if I could spend a weekend there, I think I would love it with the same, not superpower, but the same way that they were approaching life. You know what I mean? I think I would love to be in their community. Let's put it this way, in their community somehow. It's a movie that when I watched it of course the first time, I was like, wow, that's well thought. I like the way nature, love nature, like overall, and being that nature, I think would be a good place to be for sure. Yeah, great question.
Yeah, that's a good answer. You made me think. I haven't seen that film in so long. I saw it in the cinema in 3D when it came out, whatever year that was, and I don't think I've seen it since. But you've made me think now that's something has to go on the list.
Yeah, I remember watching the cinema, and after watching a few years after, I was like, I have the same feeling as well. It's like, how does having the same feeling of being there? So yeah, I would go to Avatar world for sure right now. Yeah. Would you come with me?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I could do with a holiday.
After you spend your time in California near the place you just mentioned right now.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a portal to that universe, it's probably in California somewhere. So.
Did you enjoy the interview, David?
Yeah, this has been really great fun. Thank you so much for asking me.
Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for being so kind and accepting my invitation. you know. And I'm going to mention again, thanks for being so open and talk about your life journey. And I think people appreciate that. I think the more we talk, the more people see us and, you know, connect with us and see that they're not alone out there. All of us, we had, you know, journeys as well, some that we went through, and sometimes sharing those journeys, people appreciate it because you never know who's watching right now. And sometimes people, they go like, wow, that seems beautiful to see someone talking so open about it. So thanks again for taking the time. And before we go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
I had to think about this a little bit, and it came back, was a beautiful quote I remember hearing years ago in a theatrical piece called Elegies for Angels, Punks and Raging Queens. And this was a theatre piece for memorial for people who had died from HIV and AIDS. And there was a character in it that came out with a line that always stuck with me, and it said, sometimes we make a difference by doing what we must and leave some small impression in life's enduring dust.
Beautiful. I love that for sure.
I love that one.
Amazing. Beautiful. Amazing. Thanks again. Thanks for the interview, and you keep in touch. Okay, David, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good night. Take care.
Bye-bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.